Hey guys, welcome back. So I have got my September favorites here for you today. So what I like to do in these monthly favorite videos is quickly mention my overall Friday favorites, and then I share other things with you guys, like maybe makeup favorites that I have not mentioned in Friday favorites videos. I might have skincare, like I have skincare today. I might have a hair care favorite, blah, 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 and I always try to share book favorites with you guys. So I have those things for you today. Good things to share with y'all. If you are new here, my name is Leslie. Welcome. I love to do favorites videos, monthly favorites, Friday favorites, new at the drugstore videos, get ready with me's, reviews, empties, just a lot of fun stuff here on my channel. So if you're new, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button and stuck around for a while. I'd love to have you here on my channel. So yeah, we are chatting about September monthly favorites. So let's get to it. For overall Friday favorites for eyes, I couldn't narrow down. I love all of these palettes. They are all amazing quality, so gorgeous. The Tarte Man Eater After Dark palette, this is just gorgeous. Let's see if I can get this open. This is so beautiful, like the perfect giant fall palette. I mean, you've got just so many color options in there. It is amazing. I love that palette. The Too Faced Pumpkin Spice Second Slice palette, this is adorable and an amazing fall palette. It smells a little bit like pumpkin, but it's not overwhelming. I love the packaging. I love the color story. I love the formula. It's amazing. The Nomad Hudson Valley palette. I'm obsessed with this packaging. It is beautiful. Gorgeous fall color story in here. Some really unique shades in here. An amazing red. I keep talking about that red, but it's hard to find a really good red shadow, and this has it in there. It's beautiful. So pigmented and incredible. And then for overall blush favorite for the month, I would say the Moira Lucky Chance blush in Dearest, because this is just a really good, pretty, neutral, I guess just kind of like a nude pink sort of a shade. It just seems to go with a lot of different things. When it gets to this time of year, and especially fall makeup, I'm really kind of just more into the eye looks or the lip color. So blush is just sort of, I want it to just kind of go with it, you know what I mean? And this is a good kind of go with it sort of a blush color. If you want to see swatches of these things, check out the Friday favorites where I originally mentioned them, because I swatch them, I go into more detail, all that. Then for overall lip favorite, I would say the NYX Butter Gloss in Madeline. I really like this gloss, and I feel like it's fairly unique. It's kind of more of a mid to cool tone, sort of a nude shade, and I feel like you can kind of change this up a little bit with the lip liner that you pair with it. I love the butter glosses. I love the price point. I love the scent. I love the formula. It's just a good, comfortable, not super long wearing, but really comfortable gloss, and they're just good. So I really like this shade. Then a foundation that I had this in my like random drugstore makeup haul a while back, and then I'm pretty sure I did a get ready with me with those products. But this was just really kind of a surprise. The Covergirl Clean Matte Liquid Foundation Oil Control, and this is in 520 Creamy Natural. So I either wear this by itself, or I will pair it with my IT Cosmetics CC cream, and it's just really good. It is a thinner sort of a texture and consistency. I do wish it had a pump, but that's, you know, that's not a make it or break it. It's just a thinner sort of a consistency to it, and I really like that about it. It doesn't feel heavy. It feels pretty light on the skin. And by itself, it's just kind of a nice, light, matte foundation, but it's not overly drying or anything. I mean, it's not drying at all. And then pairing it with the CC cream, it really pairs nicely with that, because it just kind of gives you a little bit more longevity. If you kind of struggle with longevity with the CC cream, a lot of times I'll mix that with a matte foundation, and this one pairs really nicely with it. I like this color. I think it's a pretty good color match for me. It's kind of more of a pinky toned. It's not yellowy, because yellowy foundations really do not work well for me. I need more of a neutral beige or pinky tone to it, and this is more of that pinky tone. So yeah, I like how light this feels. I like the longevity, and I like the finish on the skin. It really, you can use very little of it and still get some nice kind of evening out of your skin tone. You know what I mean? It just doesn't take a lot, and it does have, you would think with that thinner sort of consistency that it would kind of sit on top of the skin, but for some reason I find that it just really melds into the skin really nicely, especially when I pair it with the CC cream, which I find always really just applies nicely. But even by itself, it's good. I really like this. Okay, skincare favorites. So I talked to you guys about my morning skincare routine that I have been liking. I think I talked about that last month. So I wanted to talk about, so I've been kind of doing the whole skin cycling thing. So you can kind of research that and see what you think about it. But it's one night is sort of like your exfoliation night, one night is retinol night, and then 2 nights, 1 or 2 nights, depending on your skin type, is recovery night. I kind of have found that I think I was sort of doing that without intending to, even before now, like in the past, just because I would kind of rotate products just without kind of thinking about it, just because I was thinking, well, it's probably good to sort of wake up your skin and try different things. So that was sort of my thinking as far as that goes. But apparently there's such a thing as skin cycling, where you kind of cycle the products that you use in a more organized manner. So recovery night, I have been using several products. So the Ordinary Argireline, my rude camera cut me off, but the Ordinary Argireline Solution 10%, it says targets the appearance of dynamic facial lines. So I had heard people kind of call this like Botox in a bottle, which of course I don't think you can compare the two because one is a medical whatever procedure. I am not a doctor, no medical claims, whatever. But this is targeting those fine lines. So, and I've heard that you want to be really specific about where you put it on your skin because it is so effective, people say. So I have been using it right here where I have kind of the most defined fine lines. Right here, I've been putting it in between my eyes, kind of right here next to my eyes, and then on my smile lines. So that's where I've been using it. It's a very, very light serum. I mean, it's like a watery sort of consistency. So it applies really well. So I will just get the littlest tiny amount and apply it in those places, kind of let it sink in. I've been impressed. I can tell a difference in my skin since I've been kind of doing this sort of more defined, organized skincare regimen. So I can tell a difference. I mean, I'm doing a lot of different things, but this is one of them, and this is very affordable. So, I mean, I feel like it's worth a shot. Now, I will say I've heard that you can pair it with Matrixyl. I can't remember the whole name of that product, but I did try that. Something broke me out around the time that I was trying things, and I'm not sure if it was that, but I have not continued to use that in addition to this. But you could research that and see what you think about it, maybe try it out, because I've heard that they pair really well together and can kind of like help the effectiveness. So I've been loving that. And then the CosRx Advanced Snail 96 Mucin Power Essence. This is a really thick, kind of strange consistency sort of a serum. It's, I mean, it's kind of tacky and sort of snaily, which is kind of interesting. But I've heard that this, let's see what it says. This essence helps the skin to lose less moisture while keeping the skin smooth and healthy. So I think of recovery night as kind of just tons of hydration, feeding your skin, helping repair that skin barrier. I've been big on the skin barrier. So yeah, this just has a thick consistency to it, to help kind of hydrate the skin really well. I've heard that this is kind of more of that, rebuilding of the skin kind of a product. So it's really, really good. Okay. And then a moisturizer. I love this whole line. I have the box here. I love, love, love this Pacifica Vegan Ceramide line. It's all good. They sent me several products, but then I purchased this one myself. This is the Barrier Cream. So this line is very focused on ceramides, repairing the skin barrier, good for sensitive skin, just really hydrating, repairing to the skin. And it's so good. This just has a really nice, rich texture to it. So I will use this as my final step and I'll layer it on. I will layer it all over my face and on my neck and décolleté. And it's just so good. I find that it doesn't irritate my skin. I love the oil. I've mentioned the oil already. I love the oil and the cream. I would say those are my 2 favorite products. But there is a lotion. I think there's one other product that I'm not remembering. Maybe a serum. I can't remember, but I love, love, love the oil and the barrier cream. Those are my 2 favorite products. So good, and they're affordable too. Really, all these products that I just mentioned are very affordable. And then we're on to books. You guys, I have a lot sitting in front of me, so I'm gonna have to talk quick. And I read a lot, so it's hard for me to remember details of books, so forgive me for that. Okay. These are kind of honorable mentions because these are not my top favorite for the month, but I did enjoy them, so I wanted to quickly mention them. The Inheritance Games, the 3rd one in the trilogy, is the Final Gambit. I did still really enjoy this book, but it had been since like March since I'd read the first 2. And when I first started reading this, I was getting confused because as the books go along, there's more secrets and connections and things that are revealed, and they get pretty complicated and quite confusing. So when I got to this one, I was like, wait, who is this person and what did we learn already? So I was kind of forgetting some of that stuff, and then there was even more kind of layered onto it. So I was just a bit confused with this one. So I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I still enjoyed it. I love her writing. I really like the storyline. But now that all 3 are out, I would just read them in a row rather than waiting in between and then kind of forgetting information. And maybe take notes too. Because first book wasn't very confusing at all. Second book gets pretty confusing. And then this one I found was the most confusing just because of the details of it. There's a lot of details. Okay, and then I also read Lucy Foley's The Paris Apartment. I've heard really mixed reviews on this book. I enjoyed it. It's a very kind of creepy sort of an atmosphere to the storyline. She is going to visit her brother at his Paris apartment, and when she gets there, he's not there. So she's trying to figure out where he is, what's going on with this weird apartment, and it just kind of, you know, pieces all the storyline together. So it's sort of it's a mystery. It's a little bit creepy, but not over the top. Oh, of course, check trigger warnings about any book that you read. I think that's always a good idea. But I overall liked it. I mean, it kept my interest, and maybe because I enjoy mystery books, as long as the story is moving along and I like the author's writing style, I'm invested and I'm liking a book. Now, if there's nothing happening, it's just kind of like slow pace and I'm kind of struggling with the author's writing, that's where I kind of struggle with a book. But I like that. And I have to mention this book. So this is a romance, and I kind of debated whether to mention it or not, but I really did end up enjoying this book. Because y'all know with romance, I really prefer cleaner romance, not a ton of spice. That's just kind of what I feel comfortable reading. And if you look up this book, the paperback version of it is the most ridiculous cover. This is a hardcover and it's really, really pretty. So I love the hardcover. It's very pretty. But the paperback just looks like, oh dear, what is this book gonna be? But I had heard such good things about this book, so I gave it a shot. And there's definitely more spice in it than I prefer and feel comfortable reading in a book, so I would like it even more if it had less spice, but that's just personal preference. I think there were like 4 scenes in this book. There's quite a bit of cussing too, so just FYI. But the storyline, oh my goodness. I don't even know how, like, there's not much I can tell you without kind of ruining it, but it's sort of she has just finished high school. She's going into college. It's kind of a football romance. It's like a sort of a young love kind of a storyline, but there's a lot that happens with the storyline. And there's a twist in the middle of the book that was really surprising, and I just flew through this book. It's like over 500 pages, but I read it so quickly. So that's just the little tidbit I would tell you, is there is definitely more spice in this book than I usually feel comfortable reading, but man, I still loved this book. I mean, I was invested. I wanted to know what happened. I really still enjoyed it. Then I would say the real stars of the show would be these books. Oh my goodness. It was like such a good thriller book month. I love these. Okay, so Ruth Ware, The It Girl. Again, I've heard really mixed reviews on this book. Some people say it's boring, it didn't keep their attention. I loved it. It was a 5-star for me. So this is very dark academia. It is past and present storylines. It's very similar to In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, that book. If you've read that one, this is very similar, but I personally liked this one more. It's that group of friends. Somebody is killed back, you know, in the past storyline. Somebody is convicted for the murder, but then now present storyline, it's kind of being revisited, and is that really what happened? And she's kind of trying to figure it out. I love the like characters in this story. I was really invested in the storyline. I flew through this book. I loved the past present storyline. Really liked the characters. I really like Ruth Ware's writing style. I find it easy to read. So I really, really enjoyed this book. So if you like dark academia and past present storylines, I think you'd enjoy it. I did. I think I've really realized that I very much enjoy most of the time. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of any that I haven't liked. I really like YA thriller mystery books. There's just something about them, because sometimes when I read a thriller, I'm sort of reading it with like one eye closed, like, ooh, is this going to get a little bit too dark? Because I don't like super dark storylines or overly creepy or something like that. Whereas YA kind of keeps it a little bit less so. You know, I don't have to kind of worry about that as much. I really love this series. This is by Maureen Johnson. This is The Truly Devious. So it's the 3 books. There is a 4th one, but it's a different storyline. Haven't read that one yet, but it's same character, I've heard, but different storyline. This is a continuing storyline. So you don't figure out the end of the mystery and kind of the punchline until the very last book. So this is the first one, the second one, and then the third one. Loved these. So the main character, it's the basic premise, it's kind of dark academia. It's about this boarding school of very gifted kids where they kind of have to apply and get there for some reason. Like maybe they're really good into mechanical things, or one of them's very artsy. The main character, Stevie, she is very into true crime. So she applies kind of on a whim because this boarding school has this crime that happened back in the 30s that was never solved. So she kind of applies on a whim, like, yeah, I'll come and I'll try to solve this crime for you. And she gets accepted. She's very surprised by that. So she gets there and she is trying to figure out the crime from the 30s. So it's past present storyline, which I really like. But then also something happens in the present where one of the students ends up being killed. And so she is trying to solve that storyline and that mystery as well. That storyline. She's trying to figure out that mystery as well. So it's 2 different storylines. Why do I keep saying that? 2 different mysteries at the same time. I loved the characters. There's friendship in the story. There's a little bit of romance, which I loved. I really, really like the main character. I liked her writing style for this author. This was good. So I bought this in a little set off Amazon, and I really enjoyed this. And these were such a surprise. So this is the first one. I feel like the cover is a little bit, I don't know, and the title, Teen Killers Club. I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Because I had heard, I'll try to remember to link her channel down below. She had recommended this book. She does book reviews and things like that. And she reads a lot of thrillers. She also likes horror though too, which I'm not into horror books. So I didn't know how dark this was gonna get, but she had said that this had a lot of heart to it, that she really was invested in these characters, and that instantly hooks me into a book. If I really care about the characters, I am hooked with the storyline. So the basic premise of the story is it's a group of teenagers who have been convicted of murder, and all of them are Class A criminals, which I guess there's like a test that people can take, and D is kind of like the lowest level, not a danger to society. Class A is the most dangerous, manipulative people. So these are teens who are all Class A and have been convicted of murder. But then they have this opportunity to go to this camp essentially and learn how to be assassins for this organization. So that's kind of the basic premise of the story, and I was like, okay, that sounds a little interesting. But she was right. There is so much character and heart in this book. You just really get into these stories, these characters' storylines and what happens with them and their friendship, and kind of learning about what happened with them and what is happening with them. It's so good. There is romance in this, which I loved. Then the second one is Teen Killers in Love. But I love this one even more. These are action-packed books. They're thrilling, but then there's some funny stuff in it too. And then just the friendship and the romance. It's so good. They really surprised me. So I thought it was just a duology, but after reading the second one, no. I hope there's a third book. I hope it continues because I need more from this storyline. I love this author's writing. I looked her up and I was like, whatever she writes, I want to read because her writing style was so easy to read and just really, really good. So I love her writing style and I'm so obsessed with these books. Okay guys, that was a ton of book talk, but I hope that you really enjoyed it. I'm so passionate about books right now. So I would love to know what you love this month, either makeup, skincare, hair care, fashion, home, book favorites. Let me know that down below. Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer those. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.